Hello, this is Asad, and I'm going to be continuing the tutorial where I left off yesterday. So, we were reading this article in Stack Overflow to kind of determine what the difference between applying a snapshot to the data source using the NS-diffable data source snapshot method and how that differs from applying a snapshot using a section snapshot. So, to continue this article, it says make a plain vanilla iOS project with its template view controller and add this code to the view controller. I'll take it piece by piece. First, we have a struct that will serve as our item identifier. The UUID is the unique part, so equatability and hashability depend upon it alone. So there's a struct with a uni bool hashable UID bool hash function. Next, the fake table view and the diffable data source. So there's a table view data source with the string item section identifier and uni bool item identifier. There's a register for the table view cell and configuring the data source using UI table view diffable data source with the closure here. Then there's a snapshot, NS-diffable data source snapshot, string, unibool, snap.append sections, dummy, snap.append items, unibool, UUID, bool true, okay. So there's just one unibool in our diffable data source and its bool is true. So now set up a button to call this action method which tries to toggle the bool value using reload items. So this says if let unibool is self.datasource dot item identifier for index path row section var snap equals self.datasource.snapshot. Okay. Reload items. Okay. Set to reload items with an item whose UID is a match but whose bool is toggled. Okay. What is reload items for if not this very thing? File debug on the behavior demonstrated in this question because I don't think it's a good behavior, but as things stated, I can provide a guess as to what ID is intended to be. When you tell the snapshot to reload a certain item, it does not need read in the data of the item you supply. It simply looks at the item as a way of identifying what item already in the data source you're asking to reload. So if the item you supply is equatable to but not, okay. Okay. Okay, so there's a lot about the kind of reload method here. So the person who asked the question is saying they filed a bug for this behavior and appears they're not happy with how it's behaving at the moment. The answer is that the cell provider function is expected to look elsewhere to get the new data to be displayed in the newly decayed cell. You have some sort of backing store that the cell provider looks at. For example, you might be maintaining a dictionary where the key is the cell identifier type and the value. Okay, so I think we can go back to our code. I'm going to close this here. Yeah. So we were about to apply the snapshot to the data source. So I'm gonna use the apply snapshot to the section since I'm using append sections main. So I'm gonna say apply snapshot. Let me just get the method. This one. So snapshot to section main, and I want this to be true. Okay, let's see what this says. Cannot convert value of type nsdiffable data source snapshot photos displayer view controller dot section int to expected argument type nsdiffable data source section snapshot int. Right, so then I'm just gonna have to apply just a snapshot, not to the section, but kind of to the whole data source. So snapshot animating differences. Okay, so I just want to make sure that I've called this method and my view did load. So now that I have these three main functions set up, so one, creating the compositional layout, which provides my collection view layout, my create data source method, which connects the data source to my collection view and dequeues the cell, and then my update initial snapshot, which takes care of applying the kind of initial state of the data to the snapshot. I think I can start building and running the project to see kind of how it looks like. So I'll build, and it says building. I'm gonna run the project. So this is the simulator. It's already crashed, saying at least one sub-item is required for a group. Oh, I see. So I'm gonna stop here, the app, and what I forgot to include here was the sub-items. So we need to use a different initializer, which is group. So and its connection, or keep this, but the group here should be group layout size. Creates an item of the specified size with an array of supplementary items to attach to the item. This isn't the one I'm looking for either, so let me look this up quickly. So I'll say, what method do I need to use to add items to a NS collection layout? Let me just double check that I have the right name of the class. NS collection layout group, yeah. So to add items to NS collection layout group, you need to specify the size of the group and then provide the items within it. You can create groups using NS collection layout group dot horizontal layout size sub items, or NS collection layout group dot vertical or dot custom. The sub items takes an array of NS collection layout item objects which represent the individual items within the group. Let's have a look here. Developers using collection views. Okay. Building a grid layout using compositional layout. So it's here. This is the line that I'm looking for. So group is NS collection layout group, not horizontal layout size, group size sub items. So I'm gonna copy this and go to my project, and I'm gonna erase this line and paste the line from the article. So it's horizontal layout size, group size, sub items, item. Let's see what the error here now is. Cannot convert value of type group NS collection layout group to expected argument type NS collection layout group. Missing argument label group and call replace group with group. Okay, fix group. Right, so I'm gonna build and run again. So what we're seeing right now is just kind of a a block sort of this magenta color on the screen. When what I wanted was to show sort of the individual kind of cells. So I'm just gonna go to my debug navigator to confirm that I have what is the expected view in my screen. So I'm in the debug navigator. I'm not sure what happened. Let me just put continue and then try again. So let me close this and go here. Let me close this one. Okay. To the debug navigator, debug view hierarchy is what I believe it's called, yeah. So I do see kind of different cells here. So I have, 3 by 3, so that's 9 different cells, which corresponds to the 9 kind of items that are in my data object in the photos display review controller file. But this isn't the expected size that I want to get. What I was reaching for was kind of to have squares of equal sides, so equal length and width. And at the moment, sort of the height of each cell appears to be twice as big as the width. So let's go back to the view controller layout code and see where we can make changes. Right, so I'm just gonna pause for a second because I'm kind of like blinded by that magenta color. I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back, and yeah, let's see what's going on. So I have the item size with the width dimension of fractional width 1/3, height dimension fractional height 1. So this means that the width takes up 1/3 of the width of the group, and the height takes up one kind of full group's height. So then the group size is NS collection layout size, width dimension fractional width 1, which is the width of the entire screen, which is what I want. And the height dimension, fractional height 1/3. So let's see what this height dimension is in terms of what. This is what I want to know. So creates a dimension computed as a fraction of the height of the containing group. Okay, so this means it's going to be a height of the containing view, which is the collection view in this case, which confirms what we just saw in the debug navigator. So we saw that the length of each cell was 1/3 of the collection view, and this is what we have here. So this isn't necessarily ideally what I want. I want the height to be expressed here in terms of the width. So I'm going to say fractional width and 1 over 3. So this is going to correct the mistake from before. It's going to compute the height of each group to be a third of the width of the group, which will, give us a group with a height that's a third of the width of the group's width, which is ultimately what will create the kind of square grid layout. So I'm gonna stop and rerun here. Maybe I'll reduce the magenta color. Maybe I'll give it an alpha component of 0.13, let's say, just to kind of reduce the glare that was on the screen, which was really strong and blinding. Yeah, so now I see a different kind of layout. So I see a square, which is good. This tells me that I have objects of equal sizes inside with equal lengths of sides. So I'll go back to my debug navigator, and you'll see here that I have kind of a grid made with these sort of cells that are squares. So they each have a length of a third of the screen's width and a height which is equal to the length, which is ideal. This is what we want. So this is good. Normally at this point I would stop the execution of the program and I would basically commit the code that I have so far. So I'll go to my source control. I'll do integrate commit. So these are added. I don't need this. This really normally needs to be ignored in the git ignore user state. But I'll update my git later. Git file to ignore this. But I have the app delegate assets on screen. I do want to stage the changes in the storyboard as well as my view controller, and I think this should be everything. There's a view controller file which really I don't want, so I'm gonna delete this file. Right, so I'm not going to add any tests right now, so I'm going to delete the test folders. I think I also need to remove my test targets. So I'll do a commit again. So I'll say created the compositional layout using Storyboard. There's still an M symbol here, which might be related to the user state file that we haven't committed to the project repo, but that's fine. So the next step is that I want to add a sort of a photos picker view controller, I think it is, to my storyboard, but let me just see why this is appearing as an XML document and not the visual display that I'm looking for. So let me see, why is main dot storyboard appearing as XML? Somehow my Xcode settings got messed up, as it would only show my main.storyboard file as XML code. I've been told this can be fixed by selecting the interface builder from the Open As menu, but there's nothing under the menu. The only selection is a grayed out none. I've cleared my Xcode caches, but this does not help. Other than that, my project compiles properly. How can this be resolved? As so many people have pointed out, right-click on the file and hover Open As. Select Default Interface Builder. However, this is an option for you because Open As shows none. Make sure you are in the standard editor, not the version editor. Go up to View, in Xcode menu, View, hover over Standard Editor and show Standard Editor. Now repeat the steps. I've suggested you should get the results you're looking for. So View, Editor, so he said View, Xcode menu, View, hover over Standard Editor. I don't have this option, so I'm not sure. Right click here and it says Open As Interface Builder. Okay. Yeah, I think this is okay. Right, so I was saying that the next thing I want to do is to add a kind of photos picker view controller to select some photos, which I can display in the cells. So I'll go to my storyboard. Maybe try to see if there's an object okay. So I'll go to Safari and say, this was good, thank you. So how to add photos, picker view controller. I think this is what I need, so I'll just pause while I watch
In
this.
business, you only get one.
Right, so I just watched this video here on how to add the image picker. So this video, kind of the guy is adding it programmatically, which I want to add it using UIKit. Using Storyboard. So let's see if I can find something else. How to add an image picker to the main storyboard. I want to add the feature of choosing an image on an iPhone application. Wanted to know the given features, how much I can do with them. I need the basic features which allow me to browse the albums and choose an image which will be loaded using my image view. Implementing to retrieve from gallery. Class should have methods of picker, controller, delegate. Make the top of your class look something like this. Class view controller, UI view controller, UI image picker controller delegate, navigation controller delegate, IB outlet, image view picker equals picker controller, view to load, button tab for me earlier. We'll call up the image picker controller there. Load image button tapped. Image picker that allows editing. Image picker dot source type is photo library. Present view controller. Image picker. Photo library. Yeah. So this is also a programmatic approach, which I'm not really interested in. Let me try how to implement image picker and UI using Storyboard. Let's see here. Controller. This might be useful, so again, I'm gonna pause and come back. Thanks. Hello, so I went through the video kind of briefly, how the person was adding the image picker controller. So he mentioned that as of iOS 13, I believe, there's no longer, like Apple no longer recommends using the photo picker controller. There's a new PH picker type. So I'm gonna have to read up on that because I'm not really familiar with how that works before I implement it in the app. So I'm gonna just, go through maybe like PH, I think it's called PH picker, view controller. This one. View controller that provides the interface for choosing assets from the library. Mention delivering an enhanced privacy experience in your Photos app. The PH Picker View Controller class is an alternative to your UI Image Picker Controller. PH Picker View Controller improves stability, reliability, includes several benefits to developers and users, such as the following: deferred image loading and recovery UI, reliable handling of large and complex assets like raw and panoramic images, user selectable assets that aren't available for UI Image Picker Controller, configuration of the picker to display only live photos, availability of PH live photo objects without library access, stricter validations against invalid inputs. Observe required viewing standards as a view controller that the system renders on top of your app. The picker controller requires certain prerequisites for operation that your app needs to observe. Picker controller disables user interaction if an app alters its visibility, such as by adjusting the opacity of its views layer in iOS 17 and later. Picker controller ignores touch events while its opacity is anything other than fully opaque. As a system rendered UI, you cannot subclass PH Picker View Controller. Its view hierarchy belongs to this system, and therefore the framework provides no access. Okay, so I would need to figure out how to implement this. So can I add PH Picker View Controller to Storyboard using what does this say? My custom view controller. How do I associate a Storyboard UI view controller with my custom UI view controller class? I'm running Xcode 7 Beta 5 and have a storyboard with a tab bar controller featuring 4 items. Each item is a UI view controller. Created a custom subclass of view controller, UI view controller. When I go to the storyboard, click on one of the UI view controllers, go to the identity inspector, click on custom class, and try to name my custom class. It says launch screens. May not set custom class names. Am I doing something wrong? I thought this was the way. Just associate storyboard's UI view controller with your custom view controller. The problem is that you are trying to assign a custom class to non-screen. Non-screen's main function is to display a view until application. No, it's not an application object. You should create a new view controller representing object in storyboard. This one should be displayed after application and assign a custom class to it. Okay. Using PH Picker View Controller in iOS apps by Sai Balaji. create a basic iOS app project using UIKit and Swift. Let me see this one. So in WWDC 2020, Apple introduced PHPicker View Controller, a new API which allow the developers to represent a user interface through which users can import their media from their device gallery. Before PHPicker Controller, Apple provided UI Image Picker Controller API to pick media from user gallery. When compared with the UI Image Picker Controller, the PHPicker Controller has following benefits. Okay, we've gone through some of these in the previous article. Improved privacy. Okay. View controller and view inside. In view controller.swift, first import Photos UI and add the following code. Okay, so we need this library here, Photos UI, and add this code. IB outlet, WeGuar, image view, view did load, do any setup after loading the view, navigation item, plus style plane, function configure picker, configuration selection limit filter images, picker, delegate, stuff. Okay, normally I wouldn't just copy paste code like this, but since we are trying to finish this tutorial a bit more quickly, I'm gonna do it. So I'll go here, Photos Displayer View Controller. So I'll add this line of code here. Cannot find pick image in scope. What's this? Oh, it's a function here. Okay. And then I have this configure picker here. Cannot find PHPicker configuration in scope. I think I need to import the Photos UI, right? Picker view controller.delegate self cannot assign value of type Photos Displayer View Controller to type any. PHPicker view controller delegate. Add missing conformance. Yes, we need to add this conformance here. So we need to implement this required method. Actually, I'm gonna do like extension Photos Displayer View Controller, and I'm gonna have my PHPicker View Controller delegate here. I'm gonna put this function here and then delete this here. Okay, so let's see what their implementation here is. First, we create an IB outlet for the UI image view, then inside the view did load, we add a right navigation bar item and set the action for that button using selector. Then we create a custom function inside which we configure and present the PHPicker image picker view controller when the right navigation bar button is pressed. So configure image picker, configuration PHPicker configuration, configuration.selection limit is 0, configuration.filter.images, let picker view controller equals PHPicker view controller, configuration picker view controller.delegate itself, present picker view controller animated true. Right, so I think he connected this to the navigation, right? Selector, pick image, configure image picker. Okay. Here first we create an object for PHPicker configuration structure, specify the configuration for the PHPicker image picker. First we set the selection limit. Default value is 1. If you need unlimited selection, then you can specify 0. Yeah, I want that, so I'm gonna put, where is it? 0 here. Then we set the filter property, which says the type of media we need to access. In our case, we can use images as we are accessing photos from gallery. Finally, we create an actual object for PHP View Controller class and set the delegate value for it. Then we present it just like any other view controller. Under the hood, it creates a separate process that communicates with the host app through XPC. Okay, don't know what XPC is. We also need to implement the delegate method picker, view controller, the finish, turns the asset, okay. Did finish picking results, if let item provider is result not first, can load object, self.image. Okay, I'm gonna grab this piece here and paste it here. I don't have an image view at the moment, so I'm gonna disable this right now. Okay, this delegate method is called when user taps add button in the PHP view controller. This method provides an instance to the PHP controller and an array named results of type PHP result, which represents an asset from the user's photo library. Let me check the time. Okay, still have 2 minutes. I'm trying to get this video to be 1 hour, so I'm gonna wrap up soon and then continue in a different session. First, we dismiss the picker, and since we are selecting only a single image, so we get the first image from the results array and access the item provider property, which is of type NS item provider. The NS item provider is used conveying data or a file between processes. In our case, it's used to transfer data between PHP view controller. It runs a separate app in our host app. Then we check if the item provider can load its data content by using function can load object of class, a class, NS item provider reading type returns bool, which returns a bool indicating whether it can load the object of type specified in a class parameter. In our case, it is the UI image. We can load its data, then we begin the process of accessing data using load object of class method, which gives back completion handler with data and error. Okay, so this is explaining this code, I think. First, we check if we have any error. If we not, we convert the data from PHP controller to image, UI image, and present it on image UI image view. Since load object runs on background thread, when we update the UI view in main thread or UI thread using dispatch queue.main.async block now run the app. So since load object it runs on background thread when we update the UI view in main thread or UI thread using dispatch queue.main.async block. Entire view controller Swift code. Okay. Note when you try to pick red flower, it might give you the error. Test it on a physical device. Okay. So load object of class, imager, selected image. First on item provider. So yeah, I think we can try this. Let me check the time. Okay, so I think this is good for today. So I'm gonna stop here and then continue this tutorial at a different time. Thank you.